Knotmaker Snoqualmie National Forest and just kind of driving some of the back roads this afternoon, looking for something pretty to take a picture of. And found this little road along, it's a kind of a, not a great little road, but I think there might be something up here. A lot of this is second growth forest, and so it's a younger looking forest. And so I'm kind of looking at some of the younger trees, like these little trees here, little hemlock, growing up amongst some of the other trees. And there might be, I kind of also like the way the road kind of winds its way back behind me. I might go ahead and take a picture of that. I think there's something here. I really kind of like this. I kind of like this right here too. So I'm gonna go grab my camera and see if I can find an image to create, and I'll be back. I got a composition that I think I kind of like. It's really harsh lighting. There's a lot of highlights out here, and with the sun streaming through the trees and a lot of dark. What I normally do in a situation like this is I expose for the highlights, try and get them within a good normal range, as long as I'm not completely losing my shadows. And here I'm really not losing my shadows. I can still pull them up out of the darkness in Photoshop. So I've included this, there's a little grouping of trees over here that are lit, and then the road going back and everything else is going to be in kind of darkness. I've got my camera set on a 2-second exposure, 2-second timer to get the shake down after I press the shutter. At 1/40th of a second, ISO 200 and f8. So car just goes by. So I'm going to go ahead and do this now. And it looks like it's on a little bit, the histogram's a little bit on the dark side, which I was kind of exposing for the darkness anyways, because, you know, I was exposing for the highlights. So everything else is going to be shifting, and most of the rest of the scene is kind of dark. And I think I'm going to like that, having it darker with those bushes out highlighted. I'm going to take one more exposure just to make sure that I got that one in the can. And then I've noticed this little area over here, and I'll reposition everything so you can see that. So I've gotten the composition here. I really like this little stump, and then the little western hemlock, and I believe this is a huckleberry, and I just kind of like the little small vignette of nature that's growing up out here. So I'm going to go ahead. I've got doing a vertical, and it's a little bit darker here, so I've got it at f8, still ISO of 200 and 1/8 of a second. I'm going to have to wait a little bit because there's a bit of a breeze coming through, and it's bouncing you might see it's bouncing the foliage around, and that kind of makes for not a best subject matter unless that's what I'm going for. I don't want that blur today though, so I'm going to go ahead and wait for this to die down, get my image, and I'll be back in a minute. Driving down the road, I saw this really great tree. I didn't see it going up the road, but I did see it coming down, and I want to go take a look at it. You got to see this tree. It's really cool. So it's a blowdown, So it's only, gosh, it looks like it's, take a look at this thing. So look, oh, can you see it? Wow. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's twisted, and I'm trying to figure out how you can capture this. This is fascinating. I would love to try and get the little trees going out of the top, but I think it's going to be a little bit too harsh against the trees, and I'm not going to get enough separation between the young trees and the older trees in the background. So I don't think that's going to work. But I think I can focus on, down here where it's down along this with the moss, and then going up into the curve. I think I can get an image in there. So I'm going to go back and grab my camera, and I'm going to come back up and photograph this. And wow, this is really cool. I'm so glad I decided to drive up here. So walking back up, I noticed I might be able to get those trees up at the top if I'm over on this side. I really want to get this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first. And then I'm going to walk to the other side and see if I can get those little trees coming out. It's the wonderful twisting of this tree. This is something not normal, especially in the Pacific Northwest, but anywhere where there's high winds and the trees are fighting to try to grow in some very barren areas, although this right now is not a barren area, but they end up twisting to try and strengthen themselves. So we have this, it's just beautiful. And a really good example of how these trees help to to make themselves stronger. Although it doesn't look like it helped this poor tree at all, because it did fall quite a while ago. I would say the little ones on top are at least 5 years old, if not a little bit older. But let me go ahead and get the image, get my composition set up, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my composition set up. I've got this one piece of the root here, and then it's going up into the rest of this root. I believe it's a root. It looks like the tree went that way. So got the wonderful twisting of it. I am getting some light, real sharp, bright light around the edges of the tree, which I can either fix in Photoshop, darken them a little bit, which may look a little weird, or else I might end up cutting them out, cutting it mostly out. My big thing is I just want to get the twisting, and from the looks of it, I've got some really nice reflected light coming in. I'm not too sure where it's coming in from, or if it's actually bouncing onto my lens. It doesn't look like it is or anything, but there is a really nice glow in my frame here. So I'm doing it at so we've got ISO 200, f 7.1, and it's about 0.5 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and take the image, 2-second timer to do shake, and I think I've got it. So I'm going to go ahead and go around to the other side and get the images, the image of the trees up here, because I really think that it does look like there is some nice separation, and I love the light, and there's some really great details on this other side. So let's go ahead and switch around. All right, I'm looking at the poor little tree up here, and trying to get a composition. I'm not seeing much separation. You really can end up losing that tree still. I think if I had a higher tripod, a tripod that went taller, I might be able to do this, but I don't think it's going to work. So kind of sad. It's really pretty. I'll have to come back though. I know where this is. I'll have to come back to try and get it. And with a better tripod, with one that's a little bit taller. I am in the market for a new tripod, so kind of hoping I will be able to pick one up soon. No guarantees though. So that is just, yeah, there's something there. I really see it, but I'm not going to get it today. You know you're in the Pacific Northwest when your signs end up with wonderful moths growing everywhere on them. It's just, oh, I love this place. Life just finds a way of happening here.